Yo, what it do, YouTube? It is your boy, Culture Shock. We're back with another video, and today is a sad day because we just lost a very close game to the former Super Bowl champions, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I couldn't do this reaction alone. I had to get joined by a co-host, and today his internet is fixed, and he finally got on the show. I wanted to get him on the show for a while, but he had some technical difficulties. Luke, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. Yeah, it's good to finally be on the show. Yeah, I've had really crappy internet because I live in the middle of nowhere. But we recently just got fiber, so I'm glad that I can be on. It's just sad that it has to be today after this heartbreaking loss.
Shout out to Fiber. Also, I know Luke is saddened after the loss, but if you guys don't know, Luke probably had a good day as well because he's a fantasy owner. He does fantasy talks. Go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so me and Austin Isaac, one of the Blue Stable writers, we do a podcast called The Fantasy Table. You can follow us on Twitter at The Fantasy Table, as well as our own at Big Verkamp for myself and at the Austin Isaac for him. We post every Wednesday on the Blue Stable channel, so go check out on there. We just try to give you some news and notes from around the league with NFL players, some waiver wire pickups for you, and starts the week. And then we also try to mix it up every week on doing a special segment. Like this past week, we did trending or ending, but we also do like trade targets and stuff like that. But yeah, big fantasy show. Big fantasy guy. I've been playing fantasy pretty hard for about 8 years now, so I love it.
Nice, nice, nice. So, yeah, let's go ahead and hop into this game. So we did lose. It was a good game. I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunate endings. 38-31. Tampa Bay wins. Tom Brady walks away with the victory. Now there's a lot of speculations in this game. A lot of people talk referees, penalties. A lot of people talk Coach Frank Reich. A lot of people talk Eberflus. But I want to get your whole thoughts. We're gonna start first with the offense. How did you feel about the offense in this game?
I really thought the offense did well. I mean, they scored 31 points against one of the best defenses in the league. Granted, three of it came basically for free at the beginning of the game with the turnover. But I, well, it wasn't the turnover, it was that punt with the penalty, I guess. But I thought they did really well, especially in that second quarter where they got like, what was that, like 28 points there to end the half. But either way, they did really well but they just had some costly turnovers, is what hurt them. Um, I thought they played a great game. I thought Reich drew up a really good game. To me, it was more on the players than it was on any of the coaches. But yeah,
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mentioned that. I mentioned how this game couldn't be put on the coach. You drop a good game plan and a guy like Michael Pittman Jr., who is a very high target. I'm pretty sure he went into this game with like less than only like two drops this season,
he
but
had
he
one
dropped a
drop.
lot of passes. Pascal fumbled the football. Hines muffed the punt. And then, you can't really run the football to Jonathan Taylor because they're the number one run defense. And he's pretty much everything stuffed. They had like six in the box every time, and they're just forcing pressure on Carson Wentz. Eric Fisher is burnt toast. He can't block wind, and Lord knows how hard that is. It's just you can't expect success when all these things aren't happening. Like the Colts are literally beating themselves. It's an open wound, self-inflicted wound. Like I said on Twitter, it's a self-inflicted wound. So you can't expect Carson Wentz to go out there and make magic happen, even though he did with that dueling pass. But Jack Doyle was open on a few times too. But like that's not going to happen the whole game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers adjusted in the second half, and it pretty much took over. And Tom Brady took what we gave him. It was just as simple as that. So going on with that, we're going to move over to the defense. Like the defense, in my opinion, they were playing some really good football all four quarters until it got to the end. And Fournette with just four touchdowns was at the end. But those first three was kind of much cupcake. But that big run at the end was unexcusable. But I feel like the Colts defense had a really good game, and they tried to keep us in there. It was just self inflicted wounds, man. How did you feel about the defense?
I thought the defense played a really good game. They were dominating early on. Like whenever we had it was like 0 points right there through the first quarter, and we had a bunch of opportunities. We just couldn't do anything of it because Pittman dropped a couple balls and Pascal fumbled. So it wasn't really on the defense played really well. We should have had a bigger lead starting out, but we just had mental errors or something going on offense. But I don't know how much better they could have played it. They got turnovers. They did well. Obviously, in the fourth quarter, whenever you turn the ball over 5 times, the defense is going to get worn out. So, yeah, they played really well until the end. They gave up that long touchdown run to Leonard Fournette, which almost kind of gave the Colts more of a chance to tie the game or win it, just because if Fournette didn't run it in, then they're just going to run the clock out and kick a field goal and win anyway. And when the Colts wouldn't have had a shot to get it there at the end of regulation. But yeah, I thought they played really well. I know 38 points is 38 points, but they played pretty well against this offense.
Yeah, and it's nothing to be sad about because you went 1-1. You beat the Buffalo Bills, who happen to be the number one defense in the NFL, but you lose to the former Super Bowl champions Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who is number one in the run defense and has a pretty star offense. Of course, we knew the tight end core was going to do some type of damage, but overall, you got to see a Darius Leonard fumble, punch out fumble. You got to see Isaiah Rodgers pick off the so-called GOAT and Tom Brady. It was just Ring of Honor, Reggie Wayne, and Robert Matthews. It was overall a good game. We just couldn't pull it out, and a lot of us didn't go in this game expecting to win, including myself. I didn't expect us to win. I said we could win, but my hopes wasn't very high because I knew we was going to lose one of these games out of the stretch. But honestly, I knew it was probably going to be a good fight. I didn't expect it to be this high scoring. It was a shootout for sure, but we left a lot of points on the board. And I feel like, the offense, the players had something to do with that. It had nothing to do with the game plan. The defense gave us plenty of chances in the first half, but we just could not execute. Going into this Jonathan Taylor situation, him not getting the football, like I said, they stacked the box. So it was nothing you could do because they knew Jonathan Taylor, what his resume was looking like this whole season. You really think Tampa Bay and Todd Bowles was going to let Jonathan Taylor run loose? I don't think so. Now, they might mention, oh, he got loose at the end of the game. Yeah, of course, because we couldn't get it figured out. But when Carson Wentz was out there actually hitting his targets and they're actually catching the football, of course it's going to open the run game because it's like, okay, Carson threw over 25 times. Let's try to stop him from dotting us up with Jack Doyle. Of course it gets open, but you couldn't just walk out there and expect Jonathan Taylor to just be, oh, he's going to go for 100 yards. So I'm going to ask you this question. Who do you think would have been a difference maker into winning this game?
Well, I know, like you said, with Jonathan Taylor there, like he still got like 20 some touches, which is still above average. So he got touches. It's just that, like you said, it opened up there in the second half. But I think the biggest playmaker that could have been would have been Michael Pittman Jr. If he would have caught more of those balls early on, that would have gave us some momentum right away at the beginning of the game. But he dropped the 2 passes early on. I believe he dropped another pass later on in the game, but he never really got really going with Carson in this game. Whenever this was projected to be one of his best games of the season, so I think Pittman could have been such a great playmaker this game, and he just wasn't.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate. I agree with the whole Pickett situation. Maybe using Hines more in the receiving core. Ashton Doolin getting open was nobody expected that because people was talking about, oh, if we had Paris Campbell. But I was like, we don't need Paris Campbell. And it's literally right after I said that, Doolin caught a bomb, 62 yards from Carson Wentz. But like I said, the offensive protection wasn't always there. So you can't really expect greatness if you don't have the protection. We literally see footage every 2 seconds of Eric Fisher just falling over. I have a video on that later on talking about Eric Fisher. But I appreciate you for joining me tonight. Of course, it was an unfortunate loss, but we move on. We play the Houston Texans, another AFC South rivalry game. We got to pull this off. And look on the bright side, Colts fans. The Tennessee Titans lost, so our shot is still clear. We just got to go win the games that's winnable. But once again, Luke, thank you for joining me tonight talking about this game. Go ahead and let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on both Twitter and Instagram at the Big Fur Camp. I am the web developer of the Blue Stable, so thebluestable.com, and I have my own business, burcampdesigns.com.
All right. And if you need any fantasy tips on fantasy football, feel free to follow him on Twitter and check him out on YouTube, The Blue Stable. They pretty much upload every Wednesday talking fantasy football. So check that out as well. But let us know in the comment section your thoughts about the game. What do you think they could have done better to win this game? And if you are a Buccaneers fan, congratulations, you did win. Tom Brady still has a positive record against the Colts, but it is what it is. But This is Luke. This is Marcus. And until next time, you've been culture shocked.